What's good, everybody? I'm the G with a PhD, also known as the Black Toxic Avenger. I'm like the Black Eminem. No. I'm like the Black Loaded Lux. You can put them both together, shit. Because you about to get this work, and I just don't give a fuck. Hey, look, I'm like that boy Bobby Flay. I be in the kitchen all day. I came out the womb with a recipe book. Y'all better get ready, because I'm about to cook. Don't get it twisted. This is the Green Gorilla Channel, the place where Black men can express themselves freely. Straight up, no chaser. That means straight up, no chaser. So if the content is something that offends you, I want to remind you that you're always capable of clicking a button and to look elsewhere. This is where Black men express themselves freely, straight up, no chaser. It is what it is. Okay? Now, I want to give a shout out to all of my members. I want to give a shout out to Ricky Dawson, Black Dog, NEU, Cedric Bowman, Truth 7360, BK Born Shaheed, James Washington, Hostile Adept, Seven Coast Dojo, Ronan Martin, Shop Talk Live, WPR1, Roguish the Billmonger, I Care, The Nameless Protagonist, Force Windu, Lady Miss Thing Green, BGS Ibmore, and Marvin Battle. Thank you for your memberships. The memberships are special. They're precious, you know? And you too can become a member of the Green Gorilla Channel. All you have to do is hit the join button near the subscribe button and look over the various options and become a member and support the G with the PhD and all of the endeavors that take place behind the scenes on this side of the field with the Green Gorilla Channel. Now, having said that, I want to give a shout out to everybody out there. You know, I want to give a shout out to everybody out there. I see Hannibal in here, Cameron87, Hannibal. I said Hannibal before, but James Kills, Diverse Tribe. And what's up? I got a member in here. And I want to also thank Ricky Dawson for becoming a new member. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So look, speaking of the Malleus Maleficarum, the witch's hammer, which I refer to as Trump's new executive order. And look, so the funny thing about it is, this executive order has already begun to change people's behavior and comportment. Check this out. Black Lives Matter removes language about disrupting the nuclear family from the from the website, man. Hey, look, I don't know how true it is. It might, you know, there could have been an error or a glitch during a certain period of time. I can't say with any degree of certitude that that was or was not happening, but I can guarantee you this: if you want federal funds, if you're part of an organization that is receiving federal funds, you must cease and desist with all of the language associated with what they call race and sex stereotype. So check this shit out. It says, the official Black Lives Matter website no longer includes language encouraging the disruption of the Western prescribed nuclear family structure. The language had been featured on the site's What We Believe page, in which the group had laid out its support for various extreme policies and ideals that went beyond police reform and brutality. No shit. We've been talking about that in the Black manosphere for like, how long? Attempts to access the page now yield a message that reads, page not found. Sorry. But the page you were trying to view does not exist. So the Washington Examiner first realized that this phenomenon was occurring on Monday, which was quite a bit of time ago. It's been the Malleus Maleficarum was set down on the 22nd of September. I think this was something that was reported on the 21st of September. But anyway, be that as it may. So ultimately what was there before, so it says the page had described the group as a global Black family that engages comrades with the intent to learn about and connect with their context, according to an archive. And here's a quote from the site, the What We Believe section. We make our spaces family friendly and enable parents to fully participate with their children. We dismantle the patriarchal practice that requires mothers to work double shifts so that they can mother in private, even as they participate in public justice work. We disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as extended families and villages that collectively care for one another, especially our children, to the degree that mothers, parents, and children are comfortable. Notice what they got parents there, but you see mothers, but you don't see fathers. I mean, because if you're smashing the patriarchy, you just got to say, fuck daddy. Smashing the patriarchy to me means fuck my daddy. Fuck you, daddy. Fuck off, dad. Oh, man. It says the website still features an about page that explains the origin of the organization, which was founded in 2013 after the death of Trayvon Martin, and it features a shorter list of its goals. The about page says the group's mission is to eradicate white supremacy and build local power to intervene in violence inflicted on Black communities by the state and vigilantes. It says we affirm the lives of Black, queer, and trans folk, disabled folk, undocumented folks, folk with records, women, and all Black lives along the gender spectrum. You notice that there are no men there, even though men are the ones primarily dying related to police brutality and violence. But, you know, hey, fuck it. No need to mention the men, because the men are already privileged. They say they're working towards the world where Black lives are no longer systematically targeted for demise. The organization has received criticism for its extremist views. That's how they're referring to it, extremist, including co-founder Patrisse Cullors' 2015 admission that she and her fellow co-founders are trained Marxists. Now, I'm not going to continue with this. I just thought that you should know about it, okay? I just thought it was something that you would be interested in knowing, okay? Now, I want to say something really quick. Let me stop that screen, man. Look, the subject of discussion today has to do with simping. It has to do with simping. And a lot of y'all might not want to hear this shit. So if you got like virgin ears and, you know, you feel like, you know, you don't want to hear things that might be offensive to women, then you might not want to hear what it is I'm about to say. You might want to find another place to be. You might want to find another area to gravitate towards today. But I'm not trying to be offensive, but it's this narrative that men, in order to actually be men, have to bow down, they have to capitulate to the demands of women, the desires of women, is fucking ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Some of the shit that Black men have to accept as making sense that obviously makes no fucking sense whatsoever. The things we have to accept as making sense that has no sense whatsoever. It's fucking ridiculous. It's ridiculous, man. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. Like, take for example, and this shit tickled me pink when I saw it today, man. It really did. And it's fucked up that I'm gonna show you this, but I'm gonna show it to you anyway, man. Some of the ridiculous shit that black men have to look at and accept and put up with, primarily because we just have to. we just have to accept it. Like this shit right here. Like, tell me if it is or is not ridiculous, man. And this is a meme, but think about it, bro. As a black man, think about this. I'm going to glue this shit on top of my head as a protective style. Just imagine black men saying some shit like that, and then like everyone in the world just having to accept it as something that actually makes sense. It's fucking ridiculous. It's ridiculous, man. Actually, what it is body dysmorphic disorder. Is what it is. Now, I'm not saying that black men haven't suffered from this, because in many instances, they have. I mean, if you look back to the 50s and the early 60s, you see black men with their fucking hair whipped up with conks and shit, just like black women now. And then during the Black Power movement, black men and women together had begun to say, okay, enough is enough with this conk shit, this frying and dyeing and laying to the side, and we don't have to do that anymore. But shit, black men are still at the point where they've thrown off that kind of aesthetic, but black women are still immersed in it. I mean, look at this shit. Is it not fucking ridiculous, man? Is it not ridiculous? I'm just asking the question. Is it or is it not ridiculous? I think it's ridiculous. Don't you think that Becky's and Karen's, when they see black women come into the office or when they come into school with this shit in their hair, that they're looking at them like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Like, what the fuck is really going on? It's ridiculous. But that's not the subject of discussion, man. It's just something that makes you say, damn. Why do we have to accept that? Like, at least we can just point out, look, the shit is ridiculous, okay? So the next stop, of course, like I said before, we're talking about simping. This is the place you don't want to have to go. You don't want to be there. You don't want to have to go. Simp City. You don't want to have to go there. But you can best believe you will be pushed to go there. People will try to coerce you to go there. They will try to use Jedi mind tricks to influence your behavior in such a way that you will finally be a full-fledged resident and own property there. No, you'll be the president there. You'll be a dignitary there. It'll be your favorite place to be. Simp City. Now, think about this. Women have a variety of demands that they make upon men. Over and over again, you see it everywhere. Okay, well, men are supposed to provide. They're supposed to protect. They got to be faithful to their wives. They have to be strong. They have to be good fathers and spiritual leaders, and they have to be able to spoil women and reassure them when they have doubts, and they have to be able to give women the world. And then you ask women, well, what the fuck are you supposed to be doing? Right? What are women supposed to do? I have not at any point seen a list of duties that men impose upon women uniformly. We know that uniformly a man is supposed to be a provider, protector. He's supposed to be, a good father. Even if he's not allowed to be a good father, he's got to be an uncle daddy or some other kind of shit like that, a concu-serf. He's supposed to be all this in the context of what? Why is he supposed to give all of this and to receive virtually nothing? What are we supposed to get for that? WAP? That just doesn't seem like a good deal to me. It just does not seem like a fucking good deal. It doesn't seem like a good deal at all. And so think about it. A man who refuses, and this is just memes, and men are thinking this. They're like, okay, a man who doesn't do what a woman is requiring him to do is perceived as being an asshole. He's weak, he's abusive, he's patriarchal, and all of this shit. But if you ask a woman to change, to give a man some of the things he wants, then that man is going to be perceived as being abusive. And the woman who refuses to capitulate to any of the man's demands is perceived as a strong woman. That's a strong Black woman. She's a leader. She loves herself. She's self-respecting and so on and so forth. Just doesn't seem like a good deal. What are you giving for receiving all of this shit? That is the question of the day, man. Why should men go and bend over backwards to do all of the things that women require men to do, and there is hardly anything at all that a woman is required to do? Because if you start talking about cooking, why can't you cook? You trying to make me do housework. That's unfair. I do most of the housework. You need to do some more housework. Whoa, pump the brakes. Pump the brakes, slow down. Although on average, men work more hours than women, they do the more dangerous work than women. They do more of the dirty work than women. I mean, it's not a lot of women construction workers out there. There's some, but not a whole hell of a lot. Not a lot of women trash workers, the trash men. They come and empty the trash. Not of a lot of electrical repairmen, which is dangerous as hell when it goes down and ice storms and so on and so forth. There's men there to pretty much clean the infrastructure up. But all this work, and there's still a problem. Still the patriarchy. Somehow the women are at a disadvantage. Everywhere you look, all you hear are stories about how bad women have it. How bad they got it. And men are like, what the fuck do I get out of this deal? What do I get from it? What's the exchange? I'm still trying to figure it out. Because think about it. Look, this woman put up, niggas always texting and say, what you doing? And she's like, nigga, text me with what you and them kids want to eat. Ha, 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 ha. So in other words, there's already exploitation written into the fucking contract. It seems like, fuck what I'm doing. I need some food. I need provision. I mean, at least she's honest. At least she's cutting to the chase. At least she's being honest. And is willing to put a face out there. Ha, 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 ha. But I'm going to show you a video or something, right? So there's several prominent men. Dr. Dre, one of them, Emmett Smith, and I'm going to show you this video, and it's about Emmett Smith, right? But also, You know, you got like men from all over, Tiger Woods, and recently Luther Campbell, Luke Skywalker, wife just divorced him. And he basically is like dumbstruck, like it just came from out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. I'm just like, you know, she's filing for divorce. Cardi B recently decided to divorce Offset, and she made a video about, no, he didn't cheat on me. He didn't do none of that. I just got tired, and you know, before he cheated on me. Okay, all right. So you're going to dump him before he cheat on again. I just don't understand the thought process. What is the thinking? Because it sounds like an exploitation contract to me. You get into a relationship with a woman, she gets provisions and protection and the safety associated with being in a relationship, and then she can bounce whenever she gets ready and jump like a pogo stick on the next man's dick, and it's all to the good. Tell me what's fair about that. Tell me what's upright about that. Like, what's balanced about that? I don't see anything balanced about that. But anyway, let's look at this video. This is the kind of shit that high value men, and one can argue, ain't nobody listening to this goddamn video right now more high value than Emmitt Smith. And if this shit can happen to him, what can happen to you?
You got a minute?
What's up?
I just feel like we need to talk.
Okay.
I'm just having these feelings.
What feelings are you having, babe?
I just feel sometimes just kind of pushed aside. Like a couple times I got lost.
A couple times you got lost. When did you get lost after that?
Lost in the crowd. And you just like left me.
No,
You walked ahead of me. And I'm just telling you how.
I walked ahead of you so I could go open the door. And I opened the door when I got there.
I'm looking for support and that kind of love. And so when I kind of get pushed aside, those little moments just kind of remind me that, okay, you're not getting it. You're not getting it.
The secret to a happy marriage is, I don't know. I think marriage itself is steady evolving. Again, I can equate it to football because once you know a system, and you've been in the system for over 5-6 years, there isn't too much more you can learn. It's kind of the same with marriage. We have to figure out ways to rekindle and keep that fire and that spark going. I even acknowledge you in the middle of the speech, at the end of the speech too.
And I appreciated that.
So at the end of the day, what do we talk about in that regard?
I'm sorry. I'm proud of you. I mean, congratulations.
It doesn't feel like you're proud of me because obviously.
No, I'm so proud of you.
No, it doesn't feel like that. I mean, I just had a moment.
I supported you. I smiled with you. I am happy for you, truly.
I'm listening to you. I received everything you just said.
But you debated it.
Well, I hear you, and I work on some of the things that you just brought up to me. I would say I listen, and I try to make the corrections that are necessary for me to become better. I'm gonna probably break it down as simple as this. For men, it's probably a happy wife, happy life, period. But I'm just not sure what I can do to help.
Love you.
I love you too.
Hi, YouTuber.
Now, thank you, Ebo Sosa. I appreciate the donation. I appreciate that, bro. But I mean, what the fuck was Emmitt Smith supposed to do? I mean, like, what was this man supposed to actually fucking do? It seems like to me, this woman has an ego problem. Her whole life is the infantile ego. You have to understand my needs and my feelings. My feelings, you need to arc your whole world to my feelings and make me feel special. Each and every day in each and every way, I have to be the number one priority. You leave me out. Now, everybody knows that Emmitt Smith is a famous man, an honorable man, a man who's accomplished. And wherever he goes, people are going to be clamoring for his attention. Tell me how she's being supportive of that man. Or is she draining his fucking energy like a succubus? I'm just saying. I'm just asking the question. Now, I'm not trying to be ignorant about it. I'm just asking the question because what I think is, I'm just being perfectly honest. I'm not trying to offend people, but the reality is a lot of women, man, don't have any goals for themselves. And so everything they do is centered around getting attention from their fucking husband or their significant other. And then what they're doing is actually fucking off, taking away from the efficacy of their partner. That's not a partnership. That's a tyrannical relationship, man. That's a narcissistic, abusive relationship, man. And I know everybody sometimes will feel like, oh, well, you know, you didn't pay attention to me here or there. I want some us time or whatever the case may be. But damn, if every waking hour you got to tell somebody who's feeling a certain kind of way that they need to make your ego feel like it's on 100, come on, man. And this brings it to the matter of submission. It brings it back to the matter of submission. So some people look at submission as a dirty word. A woman can't submit to a man. If a woman submits to a man, then she's submitting to injustice, submitting to tyranny. Half the time, men don't even give a fuck about making a woman submit to where the woman is acting like, you know, the woman who was supposed to marry Eddie Murphy and Coming to America. And she was like, well, whatever you like, that's not what a fucking man is looking for. I want you to jump on one foot and hop and bark like a dog. That's not the shit that men are looking for when they even think about submission. I would put forth the notion that submission to most men means to actually submit to the goddamn obligation that you made in the context of being in the fucking relationship to begin with. How about that for starters? How about submit to your own obligation and your own commitment, your own oath? How about submitting to reason? How about that? How about submitting to the reality that in all likelihood, you're not going to be as strong as a man physically, so you don't need to be popping off with this man, slapping and punching him around the fucking house, creating drama over stupid shit. How about submission as a means of respecting the man that you're with and respecting his manhood? Because see, what I see is a whole lot of rigmarole around this fucking idea, this concept of submission. How about just submit to the institution of marriage if you're in the motherfucker? How about that? And to me, what it means is submit your ego and understand that it's just not all about you and your fucking emotions at any specific point in time, but it's about something bigger than you. Because see, people don't understand the negative externalities that are coming about as a result of people wanting happiness for themselves. And then oftentimes the happiness is just some sort of fucking fleeting, ephemeral, illusory kind of feeling. That's because most of us, we don't have any substantive goals, any substantive objectives, no mission. We got to be better than this. It's got to be something more than this. But it's happening to men everywhere. And men are complaining about it. This woman is a woman who has everything she could possibly want in this world but she wants more. I remember, the Bob Marley song. Now you get what you want. Do you want more? Like, how much more do you want? And I'm not saying men can't behave in this way. It's possible for men to be self-absorbed and narcissistic and to demand more than what is properly required. I'm not saying that. But I'm also saying, though, a lot of times women do this shit. But now you got men on this bandwagon saying similar shit to women. It's as if right now, in the context of this culture, men are requiring other men to just basically give every woman what she wants. Like, I can do it, baby. I can do it better. I mean, that's some simp shit to me. Let me go back into it, man. So it's just a lot of things. A lot of things occurring in this culture, man, that don't make sense to me. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. In actuality, what I think is, this is what women want, man. Captain save them, man. I'm supposed to go up and down. Ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no valley low enough. Ain't no chasm wide enough. I'm going to get to you. I'm going to do whatever it takes to please you, baby, to please you, baby. This is just not a realistic conceptualization of life. You can't be walking around in a euphoric state of happiness 24/7. Everything in the world is not supposed to be laid open at your feet. I think too often what we have is these fairy book or fairy tale conceptualizations of what relationships are supposed to be like, given to us by Disney movies, where you got a Prince Charming and he comes in and sweeps the girl off her feet and saves her from some oppressive condition. And he satisfies each and every one of her desires because he knows just how to make her feel special. Come on now. Does that sound like a realistic goal in life, to find some man that's going to make you 100% happy? And the fucked up thing about it is, a lot of times, it'll be said that men are the problem and that, most women want to be in relationships. There hasn't been too many women that I've been with in my lifetime that haven't wanted a long-term relationship. They want them. They desire them. As long as it's good for them. As soon as it gets rocky for them, or as soon as things don't go their way, then they start to push back, as if you are required to meet those demands. This is a new day and age. I don't know what these motherfuckers want. Like, I'm like DMX. I said it before. What you really want from a nigga? What do you want? Because I guarantee you, man, a woman who gives a man a problem about what he's supposed to be giving her, as soon as he gives it, it's going to be some more shit that she wants. And some more shit and some more shit. And then some more shit and some more. I want to give a shout out to Dwayne H. Appreciate you for the donation. Thank you, sir. I'm like, what y'all want? Why is a man required to make sure that you're happy? Why is this submission word a big thing? Like, what is this about? Because at the end of the day, a man is at his best when he has some support. A lot of shit that we getting from women is not support. It's a whole bunch of draining, emotionally draining bullshit and drama again. It's incessant. I showed you what the women of the South did for their men after their men lost the Civil War. Now, I mean, you know, I'm not saying that interpersonally they didn't have conflicts in their relationships, but I mean, as a schema, a psychological schema, why would you want to have a man that's constantly dealing with your fucking bullshit? What good is that man going to be to you or himself if he's constantly berated and has to deal with some emotional drama? What the fuck good is a man that has to continuously go through that kind of shit day in and day out? What good is he to you? I'm asking the ladies, like, what good is a man to a woman that is constantly fucking with him? And then, beyond that, what good is the institution of marriage when it's supposed to be a lifetime oath between a man and a woman to build a family? It's not something that's just personal. This is also institutional because marriage is an institution. It's not supposed to be just something predicated upon the personal happiness and satisfaction of the individuals. It's supposed to be an institution. The initial institution that leads to productivity of the culture itself. It's supposed to be the repository of value. But now we live in a culture where it's like, shit, you're supposed to take up my slack. You're supposed to take care of me after I done got bust out with 3 or 4 different kids. I want provisions and protections. I deserve a man. Really? Do you really deserve one? Man, we live in a thought culture, man. And for some reason, we think that that's okay, that that's the standard. That the mononuclear family in and of itself is a problem, that it oppresses women, and that men want to control and dictate every action of a woman. When have men ever done some shit like that? I have never seen a situation on an interpersonal level where a man has just basically dictated orders to a woman. None of my homies. They trying to have fun. They're trying to get a break from the bullshit that they got to deal with in the world. They don't want to come home to some bullshit. Now, I'm not saying men don't have their bullshit with them. They do. But this whole notion that men are supposed to make women happy, what the fuck is that? Ronan Martin said they demand 360 relationship deal. And look, man, I get gutter over here, man. So if you don't want to hear a whole bunch of hooping and hollering, no, if you want, refined conversations about the subject matter at hand. Well, you ain't gonna get that here. You're gonna get some straight up, no chaser, no filter, actual record of what black men are thinking. That's what you get here. That's what you're gonna get here. I remember what Kennedy said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. I think to myself, well, damn, ask not what your man can do for you, but what can you do for your man? In this culture, we're putting the cart behind the horse. Right now, we think that, and I hate to say this, and I don't mean to sound ignorant by saying it either, but think about it. What country or nation of people has ever been successful in the history of the fucking world where you had men who are in a subservient position to all of the women in the society? Which one? Name it. Well, you got women like, I need to take the lead. You need to be quiet. Sit back. We got this. We got this. You know, you're not able to handle it. We got it. Name one successful society where you see where women treat men like that, and that there's a successful civilization there, and it's of a high kind. I'm asking for you to figure it. I mean, tell me, because history tends to repeat itself. So if you can find a condition in which women were basically able to get whatever they wanted from men, show me the example of that culture, that civilization, and how they hit a high mark, or whether or not you can see this kind of instantiations of the derogation of men and you see it on the decline. I'm asking for a friend. I'm asking for a friend. I'm just asking. Because, you know, right now, I mean, I read something, man, the other day, and this is what I saw. Okay, this is what I saw. This is some guy, he must be some sort of Afrocentric guy, and this is what he said. I'm going to read it verbatim. I'm not going to say his name. His name is unimportant. Excuse me. His name is unimportant. And this is what he says. I'm not the least bit interested in a black woman submitting to me. I wouldn't be interested in any woman who thinks that because I am a man that her divine light, divinity, is meant to bend towards the gravitational pull of my masculinity just because I possess a thing that swings. Now look how he starts this shit off. He starts off by saying something about her divine light, but there's no corresponding divinity related to him and his masculinity. He just has a thing that swings. Explain to me how you can even begin to have a contextual conversation about complementarity, but you're not even alluding to complementarity as you begin. You're alluding to divinity on one side of the coin. Explain it, Afrocentric dude. The impoverished notion that women should submit for protection is absurd as the starving, malnourished consciousness that advances it. Black women shouldn't have to qualify for our love, respect, adoration, support, and protection. Black women deserve to be loved, respected, adored, and protected simply because they exist, as do we all. Now, let me just say something about that, man. Look, your child might not have to qualify for your love. That's the only people that don't qualify for love. Your mother might not have to qualify for your love, but she probably does. She probably deserves your love insofar as she raised you and took care of you and nourished you. Your father deserves your love if he did the same and made sure you had a roof over your head and instilled some values within you. But the very idea that just because somebody exists, that they deserve respect. Now, I might respect their rights and not disrespect, but nobody deserves an adoration for nothing. I'm just supposed to adore a motherfucker for nothing? I'm supposed to support and protect people for nothing. This is quixotic to me. It makes absolutely no sense. Now, I'm going to take care of my child and adore her, support her, and protect her, and respect her. But I don't have that duty to every fucking woman in the world. And if I do get married to a woman, I obligate myself to do that to that particular woman, not to all of them. Now I can have a general respect for womanhood, but there have to be some standards there. I'm not going to treat whores like women. They're not going to get the same amount of respect. I'm going to treat them differently precisely because they behave differently. They have a different standard and a different set of virtues and values. Everybody doesn't just get treated the same just because they are. Now we're talking about reality. I'm not talking about what ought to be. I'm talking about reality. And people oftentimes say that you're idealistic. I get it. But come on, man. I keep it 100. Nobody deserves to be loved, respected unconditionally. It never happens, never will happen, never has happened. And then he says, amongst equals, there is no need for submission, only mutual respect, mutual cooperation, mutual support, mutual upliftment, mutual shared work, shared vision, shared sacrifice, shared victories, complementarity. See, the problem black men are having is that there's no fucking respect for them. No mutual upliftment for them. No shared vision for them. If your vision is you got to pay 100% attention to me whenever I need it, don't matter if I'm fucking working, doesn't matter if I'm at a charity event, I'm super balling out of control, I'm the dude. Everybody's clamoring for my attention, but I got to find some way every step of the way to make you feel special. That's some selfish shit. It's selfish. Then he goes on to say the very definition of submission supposes a lesser. The action or fact of accepting or yielding to a superior force or to the will or authority of another person. Again, I don't think what men are looking for is someone who's an automaton that just like a robot does whatever a man says. But he expects for the woman to actually cooperate and collaborate and actually show the mutual respect. Because right now, there's not a lot of mutual respect going on out here. And one could argue that the institutional arrangements in our culture make it such that women don't have to show you mutual respect. Why should I show a motherfucker some respect when I know I can divorce him, take half of his shit, and be on, like I said, on the next rank, on the next thing smoking? Why should I respect it? There's no penalty for it. There's no punishment with it. There's not even any shame associated with it. From being a gold digger, an exploiter. Motherfuckers clapping their hands and shit about this. It's ridiculous to me, man. Then he says, I think this need for some men to have women submit to them is a sign of interior weakness. The inability to build emotional and psychological muscle, which results in a kind of insecurity that makes some of us more comfortable asking women to miniaturize themselves as opposed to raising our life game to a higher vibration. That's a whole bunch of fucking psychobabble, man. It's a whole bunch of psychobabble. To me, what it means is, don't try to outshine me. I won't try to outshine you. Let's take your strengths and my strengths and use them in order to work towards a common goal, a purpose. Let's make out a 5, 10, 15-year plan, and let's set some objectives. And let's give some rewards for us having accomplished those goals as we move along our journey. Instead of having trifles. But see, most couples don't plan shit. One thing I said about the catastrophe of Black people living in the United States is that their consciousness is only rooted to slavery and they only think 3-4 months ahead. People don't think long term. We are creatures of cunning. We live move to move. That's like playing chess and you have no strategy. You don't even know how to move the goddamn pieces. And you're supposed to win the game. How can you win the game like that? How can you win the game? It's been said that men want women to submit. Maybe submission means to get rid of the fucking gynocracy and to have everything arc towards a woman to where whatever she wants, that's the standard for which the relationship is perceived as being successful. Perhaps maybe men want to actually have a role to play in their children's lives and to have absolute control over the things that they do, just like women have absolute control. And I don't think anybody is willing to argue right now that women don't have absolute control over their kids, especially in the Black community, seeing how most of the kids raised in the Black community are being raised by single mothers. That's matria potestas. That's absolute power over children's lives. That's terraforming the mind of children, having the capacity to create and instill values within progeny that they're going to carry with them towards future generations. Because what you inculcate in a child's mind, they carry forward with them. But you don't hear me though. This brother says he says we want a paycheck, but we don't want to show up to work. Okay, so Dr. Dre didn't want to work, right? Emmitt Smith wasn't working. Michael Jordan wasn't working. Tiger Woods wasn't working. Cam Newton wasn't working. Offset wasn't working. None of these so-called high-value men, they weren't working. Now, they might have had some fucked up ways with them. Of course, high-value so-called men, they oftentimes play around. But in most cultures, prior to the advent of the supremacy of Western society, most cultures were polygamous anyway. But you don't want to hear that, though. Those are dirty words. Polygamy. This notion that the possession of a penis, the mere possession of a penis, is all the evidence one needs to prove their right to lead is as crippled as the mentality of the men who seek to advance it and the women who support it. Every time I hear a brother suggesting a Black woman should submit just because he's a man, all I hear is a man saying, "Oh, come on, let me win." Let me give you some understanding. There are certain things that men are good at naturally or innately, and there are certain things women are good at naturally or innately. I'm just going to be honest. I don't want to get into a fist fight with 10 women when I can go get 10 men. I don't want to. And I'm not going to submit to the woman who thinks that it's a good idea for me to go grab 10 women to get into that fight. And the fight is something I can't avoid. You're not going to convince me that that's a wise move just because you're a woman and you say that. So the shit moves vice versa. I don't expect just because a woman has a uterus or a vagina that she's going to be a better leader in all instances. Because what I hear right now from a lot of women is, "Oh, I'm a woman and we've been subjected to the patriarchy and that's been happening too long. Come on, let me win." But you don't want to hear that though. Then he goes into another part of his talk. But if we're going to talk about submission, how about we ask more brothers to join the fight to get white supremacy, anti-Blackness, and patriarchy to submit to our will? The clarion call by some Black men for the submission of Black women, co-signed by some Black women, reveals the extent to which we have had too much education and too little schooling. If one reads the literature produced by Black psychologists over the last 5 decades, it tells us One of the strengths of the Black family that allowed us to survive was not rigid gender roles, but rather role flexibility, performing whatever roles were necessary for the family to survive and, when possible, thrive. And the fucked up thing about this statement is Black men are among the most flexible in relation to the carrying out of family roles. Do I have to break out the fucking literature? Black men have the most progressive viewpoints about women being in leadership roles and being able to be actively involved in politics. That's what the white women got jealous of when they came to do help related to the civil rights movement. They realized that the women in the Black community had more influence and more political gravitas than white women did in their own communities. So that's some bullshit right there. In fact, Black fathers are more involved in their children's lives than any other demographic. Go look up the knowledge. Go do the knowledge on it. Although we get typecast as being the most deadbeat. And we do so even in the context in which we're being humiliated by women who oftentimes try to keep us from seeing our kids. But you don't want to talk about that shit, though. You don't want to talk about how there was a time when both Black men and women were collectively and actively and progressively trying to fight the system, but that at some point, Black lesbian feminists followed the white counterparts, which to me is nothing but a fucking ruse to begin with. A little trickery-dickery on the part of these white women to keep us divided and truncated and fucked up. They decided, man, we can get these women to go follow us. And then, you know, we can have more numbers. That's how you co-opt the movement. Get motherfuckers from the outside to come in, get into your ear, tell you what's best for you. Then give you some tokenism, and then all of a sudden now you got the juice. But you don't want to talk about that, mister. You don't want to have a conversation about that, though. Nature is based on harmony and complementarity. We, the world, are in a predicament we are in now because Europeans, since this laughable era they call the Enlightenment, have sought to force everything into submission to their underdeveloped consciousness, from the enslavement and exploitation of human beings to labor and human possibility to its adversarial relationship to this planet and the cosmos. More Afrocentric psychobabble. Look, I'm Afrocentric, but I, more than anything else, know that conflict amongst men on this planet is not something that just occurred, happened, was created, or was come to fruition only through white men. Do Chinese have problems internally within their own cultures and their civilizations? Do they have internecine warfare amongst themselves? What about African people? Oh, I'm pretty sure there was no internecine warfare amongst them at all. None. We just got to tell the truth, man, and stop being quixotic and romantic about shit. And I got a problem with what white folks are doing. But come on, man. Let's be real. We got to tell not all, of the false of one side of the coin, but we got to tell the whole truth about the whole matter all together. Don't be fooled. It is a worldview bent on forcing life itself into extinction via submission to its alabaster madness. So basically, all this shit is some fucking feminist, psycho, fucking Afrocentric babble mixed up together, man. Look, I've been reading this shit since I was fucking 20 years old. I'm almost 50 now, man. I done read Chiak Antediop, Theophilo Benga. I done read Ra Uneffer. I know goddamn John Henry Clark, Muala Ashby. I done read all of this, man. I've been on this since I was fucking 19 years old, bro. I've been done the math on this. I've been done the knowledge on this. I done read Donna Richardson, who now is Marimba Ani. I read it all. Georgie James, Stolen Legacy. I've been on this since I was a youngster. So I'm not impressed by the whole white supremacist bullshit. In actuality, the whole feminist ideology is predicated on white supremacy because it came out of that shit. It came out of that camp. And I tried to tell people, look, I went to school with feminists who taught me that shit, and they had husbands. And while y'all talking about you don't need no motherfucking man, they got a man at the crib. Now, I don't know what they do when they have personal problems in the context of their relationships. I'm pretty sure they fight just like anybody else will. But I'm seeing a disturbing trend, the trend that moves away from the whole concept that there's any value of being connected and correlated with a man if you're a woman. So you're going to extend global villages, just these connections, this, you know, these networks of women where y'all hold all the children, and the men are just coming in like fucking concu-serfs and sperm donors and shit. That shit ain't natural. There's never been a civilization where that shit has worked. Never. So it is what it is, man. You know, I can't tell you one way or the other, but what I can tell you is brothers is tired of this bullshit, man. We tired of being the whipping boy, the scapegoat. We're tired of the sucker shit. We're tired of the simp talk. Like we gotta submit ourselves. I don't mind having a connection with somebody that's equally yoked. That's why they call it equal. They say in the church, equally yoked. Equally yoked. So look, this is what men are saying. And it ain't just women saying this shit, it's men saying it. Stop treating relationships like IKEA purchases. If a man can't assemble himself, it ain't your job to fix him. Simp talk. I guess you supposed to swoop on in and take care of that. You got all your shit together, huh? I know what white women did after the fucking Civil War. They started erecting monuments up to the men that lost the fucking war and helped them build the invisible empire called the Ku Klux Klan. So when their men lost, they built them back up. And they still were out front. They were out front being complimentary. They weren't trying to say, you ain't shit. We need to be in the lead. They took the lead. They found their own fucking lane to lead. They ain't trying to take away the man lane to lead. They found another way to lead. Instead of trying to rub elbows with you telling you to get out the way, they created a leadership lane. And the funny thing about it is, this is how this shit work, right? So white women come up and they say some shit, abort all white male children, impeach Trump, elect Obama to a third term. So this is a white feminist saying this shit, right? 3 years ago. Then the next thing you know, all I'm saying is stop echoing these people, because then you start seeing shit like this. Black women really need to stop giving birth to what hates us. Abortion was made for black male babies. So this is 2020. They say some shit in 2017. In 2020, you see black women saying the same shit. Stop following these motherfuckers, man. And you see some more of it. I just had the most morbid thought. We as black women hold the ability to end black men as a whole. Really? That's what you fucking seek to do, end black men as a whole? Why the fuck should I provide, protect, and give unconditional support to a motherfucker that thinks like that? You explain that shit to me. I want a woman to come in and tell me, explain to me, why in the fuck should I support somebody doing some shit and saying some shit like that? And I'm about to get off here, man, because you know what? This starting to piss me off, man. For real. I want a woman to explain to me why I should offer unconditional support, provision, protection, and adoration to somebody talking like that. Explain it. Because I'm having a hard time understanding it. Rue to the bros. I hear you, dog. Rue. I'm just asking a question. And I don't mean to be ignorant while I'm saying it. I'm just asking a question. If you got a group of people who are hell-bent on displacing you, of knocking you down, telling you you ain't shit, telling you that you don't even need to fucking be alive, breathing, that your entire kind doesn't even fucking deserve to exist. Explain it. I'm supposed to align my political interests with a group of people who think like that? Why would I support some shit like that? Explain why I'm obligated to support that. I'm just asking. Explain to me. I need somebody to be able to break it down. Some white women say we need to kill our sons. Then all of a sudden, 3-4 years later, black women say the same shit. But then they go home, they got sons, and they got a husband at the crib. Your ass sitting there holding, rocking some babies and shit by your goddamn self because you don't need no motherfucking man. He can't tell you what to do. Can't no nigga tell you what to do. I'm just asking a question. It is a question. I dare a woman to get on and explain it and make it make sense. Anyone. I don't give a fuck if it's Angela Davis, Bell Hooks. I don't give a fuck if it's Brittany Cooper. I don't give a fuck who you are. Come on and explain to me. Explain why I should protect you, ride for you, come out, support, and endorse you when I'm hearing this kind of shit from y'all mouth. And still we support you. We still do. The line is open. I done already left the line open. See, I'm not going to placate you. I'm going to keep it 100. I don't have time for the bullshit in the games because we got some deep-seated problems in our community. And now you got black men coming on with this simp talk trying to tell us that black women are the natural leaders of the community and black men got swinging phalluses and they ain't worth shit, but the black woman is divine and supreme or some shit like that. That's not how that works, man. Especially from an Afrocentric perspective, I done read the literature. I've been on this literature since the fucking what? The late 80s? You can even go into Marimba Ani and the Yurugu, and that there's a discussion about complementarity, but also there's a conversation about how there's a divine masculine and a divine feminine. But you don't hear that shit being espoused here. You hear a whole bunch of motherfucking talk about black men want to be in control. Black men want the cooperation of their women. They want women to have their own fucking lane and create ways to progress our politics forward without trying to detract and take away from our shine. The only way you can shine is to fucking go off on us and make us feel like we shit. That's how you're going to do it. That's going to build up the black nation, right? And it's so tentative, it's so full of shit, because the white man can come with the motherfucking malleus maleficarum and shut all that goddamn progress and put us back at square one all the fuck over again. Because all of the progress was predicated upon white feminism to begin with. And the white women know for a fucking fact that the men are the ones who execute the laws, who make the laws, and who judge or assess people's praiseworthiness or blameworthiness in relation to the law. They know that. You can't crush the patriarchy with your panties. That ain't how that goes, man. Name for me one culture or civilization in which that shit was able to happen, where women collectively were able to usurp a government through shaming and guilting or some shit, through talking a whole lot, through writing a whole bunch of books and shit. Now, they have been successful in relation to the media and proselytization. They've been successful there, but that's only one element of it. The motherfuckers who run the military and the men that's running this shit, they are undeterred. They don't give a damn about none of that. They're like, oh, listen to those silly bitches talk on. That's what they saying. Oh my God, let them be angry. Let them just, those are some fucking weirdos. Let those fucking weirdos be angry. That's what they're saying. I've been privy to those conversations. She's fucking psycho, man. I'm telling you the truth. You want to hear the truth, but a lot of times y'all don't want to hear the truth. Shout out to Akintunde Bowden, and a shout out again to Eagle Eyes. Thank you so much for the donation. I'm just asking the question. You want us to go to Simp City? Just let you take the reins, huh? Just let you lead. Now, I've never, ever in my life been opposed to somebody who has knowledge in a specific area more so than and I won't listen to them. That's stupidity. I'm an iron worker. I know how to build bridges, literally. I know how to do reinforcing iron work with rebar, how to tie it and how to install it. I know how to do structural iron work. I know how to rig and to do crane signals and shit. And I also know how to do fencing. There were women in my earliest formative stages of me learning how to do that work, and they were journeyman iron workers, so they had a right to be able to tell me, look, this is what you need to be doing. And I would listen because they had more knowledge than I did. So I would listen. Because it's stupid for somebody to know something more than you do, and you will not listen to the person who's the expert out of your fucking chauvinism or whatever the case may be. So I'm going to listen. But that ain't the problem black men having in the context of relationships. That's not what's happening. We got a group of people who feel as if they don't feel like they have to be obligated to their own fucking obligations. Anytime they decide to fuck it, I don't want to be obligated anymore, fuck the oath I made. Fuck the oath I took. I'm breaking out of the oath. Then what is the oath then? If you can break it because any way the wind blows. Anytime you start feeling a certain way, just imagine if men decided anytime they felt a way that they just said, fuck it, I'm divorcing you and leaving you and the kids. And I'm about to go get some new hot ass, I was about to say it, but you know, I'm about to get some new snatch. Every time they felt like it, I'm about to leave my family, everything I fucking worked for. and I'm gonna get half of her shit. We ain't talking, man, look, I'm just saying, why should a man bend down and submit himself to this? Because in the context of a relationship, everyone submits. There is no relationship without submitting your own ego. It's impossible. And the funny thing about it is a woman has no problem with making a man submit to her demands, but as soon as a man tells a woman some shit, all of a sudden, it's a goddamn problem. I want a car. I want you to go here and get me that. Could you please bring me something here? Could you go grab that for me? Niggas running around doing gopher shit all day long. You ask a woman to do some shit. Well, why can't you just get it? We ain't asking to be like having you jump on one foot, like we pledging you with some shit. Get in the cut. That ain't what we asking for. We asking for your fucking cooperation with an oath that you made. We asking, unlike Emmett Smith's ex-wife, to stop thinking that everything revolves around you and your fucking uterus and your vagina. That's what we're asking for. We're not saying you don't have the capacity to lead, because if that was the case, there wouldn't have been women members in the Black Panthers. There wouldn't have been women members in SNCC. There wouldn't have been women members of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. There wouldn't have been women like Fannie Lou Hamer. There wouldn't have been women like Angela Davis. It wouldn't have been women like Elaine Brown. They wouldn't have existed. There wouldn't have been women in our movements if all men said was, you just get away from me. Now, men have a propensity to be assholes, yes, even to one another. But that's the nature of the competitiveness of men. If you want to get in and you want to be equal with this shit, you got to be rough and tumble as the motherfucking men in the mix. But don't ask me to downplay my masculinity to make you feel better about yourself. It is about complementarity, but if you're going to be complimentary, you got to understand what you're actually complimenting. Don't try to bring me down a notch so you can bring yourself up a notch. That is not fucking the way to go about this. And if other people want to express themselves differently, you're free to do it. But don't try to turn me into a bitch in order to make you feel better about yourself. That ain't gonna happen. And look, let me just say this. I might not have female subscribers, but I'm not looking for female subscribers because I'm not trying to sell shit to women. Now, if women want to hear some truthful shit, they can come here and hear it without somebody trying to sell them a relationship or to make them feel good. It might hurt, but it's like when you go to the dentist and you got a whole mouth full of cavities, you got to get that work to clean that shit up. I can help you clean it up if you really want to get it cleaned up. But I'm not going to sit here and try to make money and get women to fucking come in and give me a whole bunch of cash and shit like that in order for me to sell a product. I'm not here to sell a product. And I'm harsh. I am harsh. But that's just who I am. I'm not selling a look, an aesthetic. All you see is a dot flashing on the screen. And you hear some words coming out of my mouth. It's up to anybody, man, woman, or child, to see if there's any substance there. It is what it is. I'm not looking to make friends. I'm looking to set trends. I ain't looking to make you feel good. I'm here to tell you what you should hear. Uncle Lou, wife files for divorce, ending 12-year marriage. He says it's hurtful and a total surprise. But men don't get hurt by shit women do, though. It's only women getting hurt. Sister 7 months pregnant and now wants to date a good man. What about the man that's the baby daddy? Who is that dude? We got the cart before the horse. You're supposed to have a family in place before you start having children, you would think, but we doing it all ass backwards. We got women saying dick was better under Jim Crow. Really? Dick was better under Jim Crow. That's treating a man like an object, an instrument, not like something that needs to be cultivated and uplifted. This country will murder a black woman in March, deny her justice in September, then expect black women to save everyone in November. I mean, the hubris of that shit. You hear men talking around, like even during the civil rights movement, did you hear men say, this country will murder a black man in March, deny a black man justice, and then expect black men to save everyone? You never hear this kind of talk. You never hear this kind of conversation. This is something you will not hear. It's not a conversation that you'll hear. If we don't get back to what's real, if we stay stuck in this bullshit, we're going to stay stuck in this bullshit. And I know that sounds tautological, but what I'm actually trying to articulate here is if we keep following these people, man, in every program, psychological, philosophical, every political thought that they do, all we do is reiterate what they say, we're going to stay stuck in the same bullshit. We had a unity. Then it was all of a sudden swept to the left. And it became divisive and it became derogatory. It became solipsistic. It became narcissistic. Submission ain't about trying to dictate or control somebody just because you have a penis. Actually, it means, hey, are you going to actually cooperate and actually give into and put some effort into the relationship other than to just have a whop? How about you submit to the context of the relationship and take on a new role instead of trying to maintain independence and be a rebel within the context of the fucking relationship itself? How about that? How about let's start there? How about stop seeing a relationship as a way to get resources and see it as a place to put in work to build up a nation? How about that? How about being able to tone down your ego? How about that? We got to start telling the truth here, man. But anyway, I'm not going to go on all day with this, man. I've been on for an hour and 30 minutes. And I said, hey, anybody that want to come on, especially women, if you got something to say, come on in and say it. I'm not going to go off on you, but I'm going to tell you what I think. And I'm going to tell you what I think and not be scared to say what I got to say. It is what it is. It is what it is. If people create their own lanes and they develop their own roles and they understand that it's not a job for anybody to make anybody happy, but it's for people to develop goals that they together form, and if they go in it together as partners to accomplish them, then maybe some work actually can get done within the context of these relationships. Thank you, Brother Love, for becoming a new member. I appreciate that. So if nobody has anything to say, I'm about to get up out of here. I done my work for the day. But stop simping, man. Men have just as much a right to have standards. Men have just as much right to have their voice heard as women. And truth be told, at the current moment, Black men don't really have very much of a voice at all. We've been silenced for the past 50, 60 years. Things are not bending in our favor. They've been bending out of control. That's what they've been doing. They've been out of control. You can go live in Simp City if you want to and believe that, you know, if Black women are free, everybody else is free, and still get shot down by the police the most while they get better jobs. If you still believe that they can continue to, you know, do just as much physical and sexual violence to men and boys as men do to women and girls, and you think that's freedom for no one to talk about it, I'm not on that train. I'm not tying my cargo to that engine. That's a train going to nowhere. We've been quiet for long enough. So I'm out of here, y'all. And if look, BGS say, is there any maggots in the house? If they are here, they ain't gonna say shit. They ain't gonna say nothing. So I'll holler at y'all, man. I'm out of this joint, man. I'm out of here, man. Peace. Y'all be good, man. Thank you for the support. Until the next time.
I know you player haters gon' hate, cause I'm at the finish line and I'm in the first place. I'm a winner, and I know I'll never lose, cause I'm way too ahead of you, dude. I know you player haters gon' hate, cause I'm at the finish line and I'm in the first place. I'm a winner, and I know I'll never lose, cause I'm way too ahead of you, dude. I'm coming in. Okay, here I go. Guaranteed to be the leader of the race, come in first place. Put the pedal to the metal, let it burn, then I blow up in your face for the boom of the big bass. Turn around, nigga, fuck face. Nigga, turn up the track, nigga, hurt with a burnt face. Fuck a nigga, cause he gon' hate. Put some pimpin' in his cup, set him out for the date rate. I go, I blaze, throw grenades in the party till I'm clearing out the whole place. Who got that rock money loan? You can hear it in my tone that I own, you don't know, man. Better run, nigga, bustle like a gun. Ain't a motherfucker nigga that can hold, man. I'm tired of nigga suckin', find your bitch so she can blow, man. Ain't nobody never cheat like the young boy, many bomb boys, and he hit like a donkey. And he roll with a convoy with them hot toys. If you really wanna get it jumpin'. I blow that monkey, that hairy back green gorilla. Take it through the nose, put it on my mind, I'm a beast like Michael Jackson Thriller. Your boys are trippin', I ain't hearing till you're speaking something. Don't do too much because your pussies always do it for me. Yeah, get it good, get it like I should. All the hate motherfuckers better keep it coming. Put them all in a barn, throw a bomb, and that motherfucker leave they body slumping. I know you player haters gon' hate, cause I'm at the finish line and I'm in the first place.